edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, oh, gotta get it in your head, baby. Welcome to the edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, oh, gotta get it in your head. Welcome to the edge life. Push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, oh, gotta get it in your head.
What is going on, everybody? It is another Sunday Fun Day. Welcome to The Edge Life. Yeah. My name is Philip Edge.
You thought we forgot where we were at, and I'm Carrie Edge.
Hey, listen, and we are here with The Edge Life. Listen, you are in the right place. We are super excited to see you all on today as we got something good for you.
Slumslin?
Something.
I don't know what it is he's got for us, but it sounds interesting. What's a slumslin?
We're going to figure it out. What is going on, Jason Emmerman? How you doing, family? I see you. Jason Emmerman had to do fresh Asics on today. I saw you, family. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shoe game. You got to keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
The whole family had some. We were laced today.
Yeah. Hey, we came in hard today. You know what I'm saying?
We did. Carson held it down.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Air Jordans.
Yeah.
All day, every day. That's what we do. So, man, how you doing, man? You know, let's talk a little bit. You know, we got to give people an update before we jump in here. We got to give people an update. So, what's going on with you?
You know, school.
Yes.
Family life, work, that sort of thing. So
yes.
Yeah,
so we did share with you all last week. If you did not hear, my wife is back in school tackling a master's program in
clinical mental health.
Yes. Clinical mental health, and I'm gonna tell you what, she is working super hard. She is in her, what do you call it? Not the dungeon. What do you call it?
My lab.
Her lab.
Don't call it the dungeon.
Yeah.
Like, you won't want to go there. Like, I had to do a vlog this week for a discussion post as opposed to a written one.
Yeah.
Which was different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy, right?
I don't know if I liked it better or not. It probably took me less time.
Yeah, I know, because when you start to writing, you be writing. But you said you did a good job today, right? You shortened it down today?
Yeah, but anyways, going back, somebody really commented on the aesthetics of my lab.
What'd they say?
It was just, they really liked, the backdrop.
I like the backdrop also.
Yeah.
One day, and we need to hear from you. One day, maybe we need to just switch it up.
Like a dual screen, maybe, or
no, we just need to go to your lab and just hook it up. It's very
it's girly.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be kind of, like soft, and it's got lots of things that are important to me in the background. So.
Well, and as it should. I mean, it's your lab, so it's supposed to have things that are super important to you and all that good stuff.
Like a place you want to go. That's
absolutely.
why you don't want to call it the dungeon. When you have to go there and spend a significant amount of time there, you want it to feel good.
Well,
right? The environment is really important.
It is, but as men, we call stuff like we're like the dungeon, going down to the man cave, so we have I don't know, maybe that means it's just kind of raw, I don't know.
I don't think I would want to go work in the dungeon though.
Oh.
Maybe that would be a good name for like a gym or something like that.
True indeed.
But
True
not
indeed.
like,
Definitely.
The office.
Definitely a good name for a gym.
Yeah, so I just called it the lab.
Well, it is a great lab, and one day we'll have to go down there and let you all see. Maybe we'll do like a lab tour. We'll show the people behind the scenes.
I've done a lot of miscellaneous things.
Yes, you have.
So yeah, I'm not scared.
Not
so how about you? How are you, sir?
How's
it going for you?
It has been.
How are your mama and them?
Mama and them doing good. Daddy and them doing good. Everybody doing good. It was a good week. I have been busy doing diversity trainings.
Yeah.
And initially that's not necessarily where I thought, or what I thought I'd be doing right now, but it has been fruitful. Just working with a lot of different clients. The client that I'm working with right now is a big entertainment company, and they're getting all their executives and whatnot to go through this diversity curriculum that we've put together, and it's actually really, really dope. So it's cool listening to all these Hollywood executives talk. They talk Hollywood executive talk. I don't really know what that sounds like, but if you hear it, you'll know what it is. So it's super
Don't
cool.
know what it is,
Yeah.
but you're in the midst of it.
But we're in the midst of it, and we're having a good time. And I think the program's been really good for them. So doing that, and just continue to put one foot in front of the other. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get any shoes this week.
That's good.
That's
really good.
always a
You're
positive.
still
Like
in recovery.
yeah, it was a shoeless week for me this week. So but it's all good. It's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
So
But diversity is really needed. Like conversations around diversity. That's another big component of what I'm doing right now too.
Yeah.
In the ethics class that I'm taking, just discussions of diversity and, how you try to ensure that you're not imposing your beliefs on other people.
Right.
Especially from a counseling perspective.
Yeah.
So, but that you are advocating.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to truly advocate, you have to kind of immerse yourself in someone else's cultural experience. Otherwise, you can't really understand it to advocate for it. So
Yeah.
you're doing some valuable work. It might not have been what you thought you were going to do, but it's very, very much needed.
No, it definitely is needed, and honestly, the more that I do it, the more that I see that it's needed. Whether it be these corporate executives, or whether it be teachers in schools and things like that. One thing that I'm realizing, we're doing a lot of classes on like implicit bias or unconscious bias, and things like that. And what I'm realizing a lot, especially as we talk to different people, there are a lot of things that we do that we just don't know that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? And those things that we're doing, that they make impact on people. So a lot of times, even as we're talking within the diversity class, we'll say it's not about your intent, but it's about the impact that you're making, right? So I might do something and I might not intend to do that.
Right.
But the impact on that individual, the impact that on the person that was done to is lasting, So if I'm working with educators and we're talking about your students in class, and we may not know that there is an unconscious bias that we have, but if there's something that we're doing that's hindering my student from being able to learn and learn effectively, wouldn't you as an educator want to know that?
Yeah. Definitely. And that happens so much. I mean, there's just so many things within our mind that just kind of, what I say, operate in the background.
Yeah.
It's just the system we're running off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the way that we've been raised, culturally, where we've grown up. And a lot of times when we talk diversity, people really think like it's about skin color. And
Right.
it's so much more than that. And we do have so many unconscious biases.
Yeah.
And implicit biases. I know this last week I had to write a benchmark paper about my values and attitudes. And I had to look at 37 scenarios. And it was different people to counsel.
Right.
And you had to pick the 3 that caused you the most angst.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the 3 scenarios in there that you would feel most uncomfortable in having to counsel?
Yeah.
And then you had to look really deeply at yourself and say, why am I uncomfortable in that space?
Yes.
And who taught me this?
Right.
And so like literally I was just having a conversation, a dialogue on the paper kind of with myself.
Yeah.
Just trying to dig in really deeply. And it got pretty personal.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that I had an issue with were two people. One was a pedophile and the other one was a rapist.
Yeah.
And so all 3 of them, were oriented towards something having to do with sexuality and sexual behaviors.
Yeah.
And for me, that was very personal as having been, I'm a survivor. So it was hard. And I got to thinking, oh, man, like I have to do something about that before I'm faced with that situation on the real. And so that's why I said it's so important to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Because we can't, like you said, just not know.
Right. And it's funny because we do similar exercises like that. Maybe one is, you're getting ready to get on an airplane and you're sitting down on the airplane and all these people are walking by
Like,
and your mom, you're like, hey, don't sit next to me. Don't sit next to me. Or, you know what I mean? Oh, you can sit next to me. You know what I'm saying? So we do these things subconsciously, right? Another one is, maybe you go to a party or something like that and you're going into a party and you're looking at there are all these different people, but who do you actually go to engage in a conversation in? You know what I'm saying? Like these are things that we have to think about. And a lot of times, you know, as we speak in diversity work, there's this thing called the fast brain, right? And the fast brain is where you process quick decisions, and inside of the fast brain, there's a lot of things.
I can tell you what part that really is, but I'll leave it alone.
Is it the Mandela or the medulla? Medulla?
Medulla.
What is it?
Yeah, so
did I
not
say
the medulla.
What's it called? Medulla?
Yeah, but no.
Anyways, this thing that within that fast brain, that's where all those decisions are made. So, for example, you do that so that you don't have to process things.
Yeah, your brain categorizes.
Correct.
Because it's dealing with, I think, 42 million
pieces
of information.
So it has to process all that stuff, right? So
like in a moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if I'm walking and, you know, I'm in New York City or something like that, and you step off a curve and you hear the horn go, you don't have to process it and say, hold on, wait a minute, there's a yellow cab, it's coming my way, it's going to hit me, maybe I need to pick up my right foot, put it back. Like, you don't have to do all that.
That's like what they call the reptilian brain. It's the old part of our brain, so to speak. It's the beginning part. It's the part that just runs off of instinct with the flight or fight.
Right.
You know, it's not your cognitive frontal lobes.
Right.
You're not thinking through it.
Exactly.
It's dangerous.
And that
in
can
social
be
settings.
Exactly. That can be very dangerous, especially in a social setting when you're like, why am I doing that? Why do I not like to go over to that person or engage that person? What is it about that person that is making me, you know, anxious or making me not want to talk to them or what have you, you know? And again, these are things that we don't necessarily think about, but in a school setting, as an educator, why am I thinking that about my student? You know, why, when my student says this, why does it touch me in that way, right? So there are a lot of things that are happening like that. Why did I choose this person over this person? So just stuff like that. And like I said, it's been really, really interesting work. Even listening to some people, you know, it's made me like you this week, evaluate myself even sometimes. Like, you know, am I open? Am I really engaging people? So, you know, even in social settings, you know, whether we're at church or what have you, you know, I'm like today I saw myself like saying, okay, any person that I get within 10 feet of, I want to make sure that I engage them, and I want to make sure that I engage them in a consistent way with a friendly face, you know, and I want to be able to read their body language and see if it's welcome for me to continue engaging or just to let them know that someone recognizes them, right? So I'm thinking through those things, whereas I don't know if I would have thought through those things had I not continued to be entrenched in this work over the past several weeks.
You know how interesting it is to think when you look at a room full of people, you know, how many of those unconscious and implicit biases are floating around in there. And if you could see like little things like being above people's heads, like the things they're not aware of.
Little think bubble things.
Yeah. Like how interesting, you know, it's literally full of whys and like you don't even realize. So people are so interesting. Like,
I think so. You know, people are really, really interesting, you know, but it still comes down to at the end of the day, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, all people want the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They do want to be engaged. They do want to be loved. They do want to feel needed. They do want to feel included, right? So no matter where we are, what we have going on, when we can do those things to engage people, you know, that's a game changer. You know, it's a game changer in whatever environment that you're in. You know, you want to be able to engage people. You know, I was talking to, you know, a couple of people on the last call that I was on, and you know, the number one reason people still leave jobs is because of their manager.
Yeah, because they don't relate.
It has nothing to do with their like or dislike of the job. It has nothing to do with the amount of money that they make or do not make, but it has everything to do with how that manager engaged them. And that right there, that's something powerful to think about. Like when people leave and you don't even know it, you know, they might not even give you the opportunity to be able to fix it, to be able to know anything about it, but you trust and believe they're gonna tell somebody about it. They're gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that is literally why people are leaving. So it just lets us know the importance of making sure that we're engaging people and engaging them in a way that they want to be engaged.
Right. And, the other part of that is that you on the other side of it have a responsibility to engage with people who are not engaging with you and share that. It's very disappointing to me when you have, a relationship with someone, regardless of how intimate it might be or not, when there's an issue or a problem and they don't come to you and let you know because you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
And there's so many things that could be misinterpreted, etc. And so it's just a shame. Like, we need to be more responsible too about our response. To people who are unresponsive, perhaps, or people who maybe rub us the wrong way. I mean, we have an obligation, I feel like, for the next person even, even if you don't get it right with you and that person, it helps them, hopefully, if they're listening, it'll help them in the future and help you too. I mean, conflict, we do not like that word.
Right.
We don't want to deal with it, but we need to fully engage in that in order to see positive change.
And you said something, and it just struck a chord with me in that we all share a responsibility to get clarity.
Yes.
Right? So if there is something that I'm doing that I'm recognizing, I have a responsibility to work to try to get clarity, to understand. But the opposite is true, right? If something is happening towards me that is not setting right, I also have a responsibility to say something, right? So there is a shared responsibility so that at the end of the day, we can get to some kind of resolve. What I realize to be true, and I say this all the time, people don't wake up every day trying to say, "Hey, what can I do?
See if I can tick Bill off.
Let me see. How can I piss Philip off today? You know what I'm saying? That's and
I'll make Joe really angry.
You know
today,
what I'm saying? And it's funny because
we think it's so intentional. And then meanwhile, they literally have no idea.
They have no idea
why you're not speaking to them, why you're not coming into the same space with them. Why you're just being cordial.
Right. Just cordial.
And you were just telling, like, you just spilled all the beans about your whole life, like, a week ago.
Right.
So,
what happened?
What happened?
Right. And that's the thing, we have an opportunity to change things up, right? I was talking to a gentleman earlier today, and we were just talking about some things that happen even via text messages.
Oh my goodness!
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so hard to interpret that.
How do you know what they actually are feeling?
Well, and that's the thing.
What's the motive about it?
That's the thing. I had to ask him. I was like, so help me understand. How do you interpret this? Because he was asking me something about it, and I said, well, it's hard for me to look at this because I don't know the intent behind it. I don't know what was going on.
You don't know the person. I don't know the kind of personality or attitudes they have.
So it's very hard to interpret text.
Right. It gets very misinterpreted.
Yes. And that right there, that's a whole different thing. We could talk about that, right? But there's a lot of misinterpretation that goes along within text messaging and communication and things like that. But at the end of the day, bottom line, we still share a responsibility to figure out what's going on and to ask the question, because 9 times out of 10, it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just say, I don't understand,
Yeah.
or I don't know, or, why did you say that?
Right.
And you can do it very respectfully and tactfully. And I believe that's what maturation looks like.
Yeah.
It's the ability, to engage in conversations, sometimes even uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But for both people to walk away to grow from it.
Yeah.
It's
interesting though, because what I see a lot of times is people aren't ready and or prepared to have uncomfortable conversations anymore.
No, we can hide behind these guys.
Yeah, and many times, just being very honest, uncomfortable conversations are the things that we actually need to be able to do. We need to be able to go to people and express a feeling or concern without the fear that someone's going to go off on you, or without the fear that you're going to lose a friend when you have a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
One of the sayings that I say a lot, I said, you don't have to see eye to eye to walk hand in hand. You know, we don't always have to agree, and it's okay to have a difference of opinion. A difference of opinion does not mean that we cannot be, it doesn't mean that we can't be friends. It just means that we have a difference of opinion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there are a whole lot of other things that we may agree on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when I think about even when I think about, like, you know, the world and you know, today one of the things I put on there is, hey, what's going on? You know, part of what's going on is we're having these differences of opinion that nobody wants to actually address. So what happens is we then go, it's almost like we take our ball back. You know what I'm saying? So it's, let me take my ball. I don't want to talk with that person anymore because they have a difference of opinion. Sometimes maybe if we share the opinion, we might not be able to get on the same page, but we can at least look at each other and say, you know what? Although I see it differently, I respect you because you have an opinion. You respect me because I have an opinion, and we're not going to solve world peace today. You know what I'm saying?
And I think, you know, I hate to keep referring back to my class, but, you know, looking at counseling from a Christian perspective, you know, you're going to counsel with people who are secular, who do not have the same Christian worldview that you do.
Right.
You know, and how do you do that? And, you know, share advice. And I think the Christian way to handle many circumstances, well, to handle them all, is to handle them in love. That is the ethic.
Yeah.
It is the number one ethic. So, you know, I don't understand why we as Christians, you know, we look at things that we don't agree on. Yeah. Again, it's a differing of opinion, and we just shut it down.
See, now you're talking now.
We just go home angry, or, you know, well, you just won't listen, you know, go to hell then, or whatever. You know, it's like,
that's what we say though. You know, it's real.
We may not out loud say that because some of us are too religious to say hell.
Right. But that's what we're really thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I think a religious duty is to stay in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay in the game. You know,
stay
endure.
In the game.
Like not to give up and walk away.
Right.
You know, to stay where you do agree.
Yeah.
Until someone, you know, maybe one or both of you change your mind about some things. Yeah. But, you know, go to where you have a commonality. Yeah. Stay to the common ground. I mean, I know that's one of the things they teach in diversity training.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I used to teach it at the sheriff's office, but, you know, find the common ground.
You always got to find the common ground, because at the end of the day, we're so much more alike than we are different. You know, we do this exercise, and in the exercise, it's basically you ask people to find things about them that are different, and they write down as many things as they can that are
so many people
different about
things,
them,
right?
And they're like writing down stuff. And it's so you're doing this in pairs, and then we ask them. You know, the next thing we say, okay, now I want you to find as many similarities as you can about you, and they start writing similarities, and we give them the same amount of time. But it's amazing every single time. They can always find more similarities than they can differences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's so true in life. There's so many more similarities than there are differences, but we always focus on the small, or we focus on the difference, or we focus on the difference. When at the end of the day, does that difference, is it really going to shift or change anything?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we have to begin, you know, asking that kind of question. I love what you said earlier. We have to pepper everything we do from a spirit of love. You know what I'm saying?
Everything.
And it doesn't matter what it is. I'm doing this from a spirit of love. You know what I'm saying? Even though there are people, and I'm just being honest, there are people that you ain't gonna get along with everybody.
No.
And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still gonna say, you know what? I'm doing what I'm doing in a spirit of love. I'm gonna love you to the best of my ability, even if that means sometimes you gotta love people from a distance.
Well, I believe that you can. I believe you can love people and not like them.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Because you know, love is not. It's not emotive like people think. It's an action.
Yes.
It's a choosing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I choose. That talk. I choose.
I just choose.
I choose. You know, and it's funny because I think about like my football team. You know, when I was in college, I didn't necessarily like everybody on my team. I mean, you know, and I'm sure they didn't like me. I was arrogant. I was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they liked me all the time. But we knew how to play the game together.
Right.
And we played the game well together. You know what I'm saying? And we chose every day to go out and be great teammates with each other.
Yeah, because you could have went on another team.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But because we chose every day to say, you know what, we're gonna do our part. That didn't mean we went to the party together. That didn't mean we hung out together.
Nope.
No. But what it meant is when we went inside that locker room, we were one. And we were in unity, and we put our differences aside. Like literally, y'all. When I went to college, he wound up being one of my best friends. But I found out like the first day, he wasn't my roommate. He was the guy next door. His name is Courtney, and the one thing I found out about Courtney is, long story short, he grew up in a town to where there were not anybody maybe who looked like me. So he had never been around people of color. So I was like a oddity to him. Like he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being honest.
He just didn't know.
Yeah,
it wasn't in part of his experience.
Right. So the conversations that we had early on, they were like big pivotal conversations. But, you know, to watch where he grew to, and where I grew to, because I mean, you know, we said some real things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he said some things that I was like, what? Like, for real, you know? But I didn't take it personal.
No, you had to make the space safe so that he could be transparent, so he could grow.
Yeah, because he honestly,
just didn't know.
He did not know.
Right.
He did not know. Like I was like, you know, one of the first people of, but it was like we became such good friends. I mean,
because you shared your vulnerabilities with each other, and that's why.
Absolutely. And now, again, I can pick up the phone. He's gone on and he's done super well for himself. He you know, got a big time job, and you know, I mean, he's doing it big. But every time he comes to Georgia, he calls me. You know what I'm saying? Every time, you know, he's in it about. He's like, my buddy, how you do? You know, he's a big old country boy. He was an offensive lineman, by the way. But I mean, I mean, there's so much love there. He asked about my parents, how my family's doing, those kinds of things. Whereas that just was not the way that he grew up, but he learned. You know what I mean? And we have a love for each other now that we chose, because it was an action. Yeah, and that's real.
You know, and in addition to the choosing, kind of going back to the concept of the common ground, you know, the reason why teams are able to function above diversity is because they have a common goal. You know, there's a focus on heading in one particular direction.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as we explore, you know, race and diversity in our country, we need to discover what's that common goal, what's the direction that we're trying to head, and if we can continue to stay focused on that, you know, that's the commonality. It's the goal. It's where we're trying to head, rather than where, you know, we do need to understand where we've been. Yeah. But we don't need to stay there.
Yeah, you know, I remember, you know, we just celebrated 9/11, and I remember, you know, where I was, just like everybody else during that time. But even though that was one of the most horrific things that we have ever experienced in life, on the other side of that, watching how we came together, going back to what you're saying, we had a common goal to come together as a country. We laid down everything else, and we were able to stand together as Americans. You know, there are so many people who lost loved ones, and, you know, in some form or fashion, you know, just they felt what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like we had never before. So we were able to lay down the other issues, the drama, you know, the race, the whatever it is. We were able to lay that down and say, no, we're going to stand together in unity because we are Americans. And I mean, honestly, that in my lifetime, I don't know if I can ever remember another time where we've, as a country as a whole, it seemed like everybody was ready to lay all the other stuff down. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I want something horrific to happen. But what I am saying is, going back to your point, we need to have the common goal, the common thing that we're all going after. You know what I'm saying? Because when we came together.
Yeah, and I think adversity has a way of doing that too.
It does.
That's another depolarizing kind of situation where it just kind of brings everybody together, as one, when you overcome certain adversities together, like teams do, like sometimes families do, different groups when you've won.
Yeah.
And you've experienced winning, but you've also experienced defeat together. It does pull you together. I think the other thing with 9/11, and I'll bring in a little bit of a controversial thing, is, the discrimination that then the Muslim population in our country started to experience, even though many of them were American born. And that's, that was hard.
Yeah.
And I can remember having, conversations with Muslim friends that, just about some of the prejudice that they experienced after 9/11. And even probably now too, as we continue to have conflicts with the Islamic countries, et cetera. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's real. You know what I'm saying? I think of, even when I was flying and things like that, some of the, people who
reactions,
the reaction,
absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's super sad, but it's very, very real. I mean, even taking this back to like unconscious bias.
You have to acknowledge someone's trauma or pain.
Yeah. It was definitely real and continues to be real. But I think like we were saying, the bottom line is, we have to really choose to be able to see beyond. You know what I mean? And for us as Christians, I think that's the crux. Because when I look at Christ as the example, right? Because he is the example. He did that so many times, going to people that the general public would probably shun, had shunned, didn't want to be around.
Probably they did.
You know what I'm saying?
And, the least of these.
Yeah, and he embraced them.
Yeah.
And I have to ask myself. I have to say, that has to be a lesson. Right? There has to be a lesson in that embracing. You know what I'm saying? Because he did it too many times. The Samaritan woman, the woman with the issue, the blind man, the one who was demon possessed. I mean, like, you go through and look at all the different things, all the different people that he engaged. It was like they were all outcast type people.
Underdogs.
Underdog. Yeah. I mean, all of them were. But yet and still, if we look at it in 2021, we only want to embrace those people who look like us or have the same thought process as us. And that is not what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was with the people that nobody else wanted to be with and to be around, and literally showed them a whole different kind of love. Like the leper, you know what I'm saying? Touching somebody who everybody else said you were unclean and you got to get out and you can't be around here. But yet and still he was able to touch him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just, when I think of how he operated, and I'm going to pose this question for you. Are we operating in the way that he would operate? Right. Like that's a serious question right there. You know what I'm saying?
I think we have to ask ourselves, like, so what is an issue or the issue that is in most opposition to your Christian worldview?
That's good.
And could you minister to someone who that opposition was their reality?
Yeah.
Could you? Or would you avoid it?
Yeah. Would you run away from it?
Yeah. Would you just, do everything you could to not?
That's powerful.
Could you?
That's powerful.
Because I think, I believe that's what we're called to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, to engage with whatever, whomever, whenever, however, even if.
Yeah.
Even when.
Yeah. And that right there, that's the differentiator. If you can engage somebody who has a differing thought process as you and love them anyways, you talk about being able to change people. Because again, I think about I think about the woman at the well, and the Samaritan woman, and she's like, but why are you doing this?
See, that's the biggest problem, though. We go in with a mindset of trying to change someone.
Yeah. instead of loving them.
Exactly. So coming from a Christian worldview, our focus must be not to change, but to love.
That's good. That's good.
So we somewhere inside of us feel a certain level of guilt, shame, or failure when someone doesn't change to our view. But we have to understand that God gave everybody free will. We
right.
have the same creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not our responsibility to evoke, to create this change.
Yeah.
The change has to come from inside of them.
And he is the only one who can bring the change.
I was going to say, and it's drawn forth through the Father.
That's good.
The only thing that I can do is be that conduit.
Yeah.
And the conduit, the connection is love.
Yeah.
So until I change my mindset and shift from, I'm going to change the world, save the world, redeem the world, none of those things are our adjectives to use.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna love the world.
I'm gonna love the world.
Period.
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 Period. Poo.
I'm gonna love the world.
I'm gonna love the world
as Christ loved me. I'm gonna love people as Christ loved me. And that's it. Because and it's so cool that you even mentioned that, because that's what he did.
It's exactly what he did.
He loved people in spite of people. He met them where they were at, and he met their needs. And that was so foreign to them that they then said, there's something different about you.
Yeah.
And I need to follow you. I want to follow. I want to know more about, why would somebody do this?
Yeah, like so many encounters, like, why are you even talking to me?
Right.
Right. Like they were like,
right.
why are you talking to me? You shouldn't be talking to me. Or
that's
how
good.
are we having this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were the others that saw those, that heard the word.
Yeah.
Of other people
talking
about those encounters, that then were like, I need to go find this man they call Jesus. So it went from he was engaging to then he was the one being pursued, and they were engaging him.
That's
and
good.
the same thing will happen to us when we realize we're not the Savior, we're not the Redeemer, we're none of those things. We are the love. We are God's love here on this earth. We're a reflection of it.
And that right there, that is how you change a city.
That's it.
Right. That's literally, well, let me say that's how a city will be changed.
That's how it will be won.
Through love, and through the way that we love one another. He speaks about, what a friend really is. And he talks about, he says a friend is one who is willing to lay down their life for another. You know what I'm saying?
Sticks closer than a brother.
And that's what love does. Love is willing to lay down its life for another.
With an expectation of nothing in return. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's real serious.
Because what does it profit a man to gain the world but lose his soul?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't expect anything in return.
Yeah.
Because my reward is not here.
That's really good.
So I just need to,
That's
all
really good.
out. Just go and love.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can just stay focused on that, hey, I don't have any obligation or requirements. There's not like a checklist that
That's
he's
good.
like, you got to change. You got to change these people.
Nope.
You got to make them come to me.
Nope.
No, I just got to love them.
Just love them.
Just love them.
Just
I can't save them.
Love them like he loved you.
Exactly. I can't save them.
You know what I'm saying? And I think even when I think about, Revelations 12 where it speaks, it says, we overcome through the blood of the Lamb, through the word of our testimony. Again, that in and of itself is us being able to display and live our love out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being able to share my testimony with you, being able to share what has happened to me and why I'm this way. You know what I'm saying? That's my way of being able to express that love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light so shine before men that they might see your good works and glorify who?
Our Father who's
your
in
Father
heaven.
who is in heaven."
Yep.
So I just got to get in front of them and show good work.
That's
and
good.
the best work I can show is love.
That's good. That's good.
Because love is an action. It's
That's
not an
good.
emotion. It's
That's
a
good.
choice. It's a decision.
Well, what I just said, hey, that was good and meaty and
that was
rich.
some good stuff right there. That's what's
good.
going on.
I'm telling you, that was good. So listen, I want to challenge you all today. I want to challenge you right where you are. Everybody who's listening to the podcast, watching the podcast, listening to the sound of Carrie and I right now, I want to challenge you. What can you do this week? Not to go change anyone, but to go love somebody.
Woo.
What can you do this week to go love somebody, right? I want to challenge you this week. Go out and you love hard this week. You love real this week. Even love the unlovable this week. See, when we do that, then we will see a world that's united, and we'll be united under love.
That was good.
That was good?
That was deep.
That was deep? I love it. I love it.
And I love you all.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank you so much for watching. Please share this out because you don't know when it's going to come across somebody's timeline that needs it. You can check us out on YouTube. Go back and look at other episodes.
Yep.
Check us out on all of our social media. And then always anywhere podcasts are heard. So while you're getting your run on, your jog on, your walk on, you can get your learn on with The Edge Life.
That's right. That's right. And we will see you back here next Sunday, same time, same place. It's The Edge Life, y'all. Y'all be easy now. Peace.
Peace.
Edge life, you're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, oh, gotta get it in your head, baby. Welcome to the edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life.